Recently, a new visitor attraction, a much talked about visitor attraction, has opened here at Marble Arch. So Big Ben, London Eye, Tower Bridge, Buckingham Palace, you'd better watch out, because there's a new kid on the block. Welcome to the Marble Arch Mound. What the f***? The Marble Arch Mound has been talked about a lot, but not necessarily for the right reasons. So let's find out how and why it got here. It's been dubbed London's worst attraction, a trash heap, a spectacular flop. The worst thing I've ever done in London, one tourist tweeted. Ridiculed on social media and even likened to the Teletubbies home. Even the boss of Westminster Council has had to apologise for the construction of this £2 million slag heap. The Marble Arch Mound is essentially a 25-metre viewpoint disguised as a hill. The viewpoint was commissioned by Westminster City Council as an attraction to draw people back to Oxford Street following the easing of coronavirus restrictions. It was designed by Dutch studio MVRVD. According to the studio, the viewpoint's form was designed as a nod to the history of the site, which was once part of the adjacent Hyde Park. The mound is supposed to be eco-friendly and sustainable. However, as I followed it through its early days of construction, all I could see was an awful lot of steel being used. After the mound's metallic framework had been erected, a wooden skin was added to form the slopes of the hill. Wooden runners were positioned horizontally around the skin to harness the turf that was to be laid. Interestingly, you can see a yellow underlayer that the turf sat on before it was laid. I assume this was part of some sort of hydrating mechanism that would keep the soil alive. It wasn't. Very quickly, the turf started to turn yellow and brown, and by the time the attraction was open to the public, the poor Marble Arch Mound was looking barely alive. There was nothing here being sustained at all. Not even the few saplings that were thrown into holes on the mound could give it any eco-credibility, and looked more like an afterthought. The artist's impression of the mound bore no resemblance to the finished structure, much like the brochure pictures of those wonderful timeshare condos in the south of Spain many have been lured into buying. However, this time the London taxpayer has been left to foot the £2 million price tag. Initially, the mound opened to the public on the 26th of July, but closed 2 days later after receiving numerous complaints, the council citing that some elements were not ready. Then a week later, it decided to waive the £4.50 entrance fee and make the attraction free. So I decided to see what all the fuss was about and climb the Marble Arch Mound myself. My Marble Arch expedition started here at base camp. I've got to tell you, I was a little bit nervous, but my 3 to 4 months of training had got me physically and mentally prepared for the climb. Just to let you know, you are going to need a ticket to climb the Marble Arch Mound. Yes, they are free, but you need to book online, get a time slot, and a barcode. Here, I've just turned left onto the East Col. Weather conditions are still good, but high winds were forecast in the late afternoon. Over the railing to the left, Park Lane, and in front, the welcome sight of Camp 1. Things were going well. I decided to turn right onto the South Col and push on towards Camp 2. On my left, the north side of Hyde Park. Weather conditions were still holding, so I pushed on further and further. I could just about see Camp 2 in my sights. My training was really kicking in at this point. Temperature was dropping all the time. Another view of the north side of Hyde Park. Seeing Camp 2 in my sights spurred me on. Another 5 steps, and I was there. Camp 2, looking at the west side of Hyde Park. And now the most dangerous part of the climb, entering the death zone. The air is very thin here, so I was on oxygen. And above me, I can see the Monroe Step, the step that will finally take me to the summit of the Marble Arch Mound. Pushing hard all the time. Finally, one right turn, and then here it is, the Marble Arch Mound summit. I've made it. After getting over the initial elation of reaching the summit, I decided to first film the south-facing view from the top of the mound. This is Hyde Park. And then I moved over to the west-facing side of the summit, where you can also see Hyde Park, and further to the right, the Bayswater Road, which heads down towards Notting Hill. And then it was on to the north-facing side of the summit, where just to the left you see the Edgware Road and the Hard Rock Hotel with a construction site to the left, and then way off to the right, the start of Oxford Street going right down to Tottenham Court Road. And finally the east side of the summit, where you can see the top of Park Lane where it meets Marble Arch, and also the top of John Nash's Marble Arch itself. One thing you do get to see up here is the top of the Marble Arch itself. Fun fact, Marble Arch used to stand outside Buckingham Palace before it was moved here to the junction of Oxford Street and Bayswater Road. But I've never seen the top of Marble Arch. You can see these skylines. So obviously there are some sort of rooms at the top part of that arch. Interesting. After spending about 10 to 15 minutes on top of the Marble Arch Mound, it struck me that this viewpoint didn't really have anything of any significance to view at all. You could look at the buses going up Park Lane, the Hard Rock Hotel, the canopy of trees to the north side of Hyde Park. The most interesting thing was the roof of John Nash's Marble Arch itself. But apart from that, nothing of significance at all. So I decided to descend. I think the lesson to be learnt here is if you try to replicate what Mother Nature does with so much beauty, simplicity and ease, then you're going to come off second best. So if you are in London, you can still come along and visit this attraction. After all, it is free, and it'll be something to tell the grandchildren, won't it? I climbed the Marble Arch Mound when it was there. Or why not visit a purely natural hill that Mother Nature designed herself? Come here to Primrose Hill. It's 65 meters high and it's free, and it offers astounding views of London. Thanks for watching today's episode. More hidden treasures of London coming soon, so stay tuned.